Good day to all. So, my topic is Pre-Classical School of Criminology and Classical Schools of Criminology. Pre-classical school is also known as a demonological school, and the period dominated by it is a period dominated by the scholasticism of Saint Thomas Aquinas. Now, let's look at the crime causation factors of pre-classical school of criminology. Man's actions are controlled by an external spirit called the demon or devil, which influences him to commit a crime. The explanations for criminal behavior were sought through spirits, demons, and unknown powers. An offender commits a wrongful act not because of his own free will but due to the influence of some external superpower. The real offender is not the individual but the external superpower that trespasses into his mind. A man does not have a choice in indulging or refraining from a criminal act, as he is totally possessed by the ulterior superpower that controls his thought processes and consequently his actions. Next, we look on to the modes of punishment. According to Apostle Paul, law is a God given tool to distinguish between right and wrong. Since man commits crime due to his fallen nature, God guides the state to punish crime, and through rigorous punishments, the God offers salvation to the offender who are possessed by demons. Now, modes were ordeals by water and fire. This was treated as a divine intervention. Next one is quartering, in which the limbs of the convicted criminal are tied to four horses, and these horses were made to run in opposite directions. Next one is trial by battle. Next one is exorcism, mainly practiced by Catholics to get the devil out. And finally, the primitive surgery, where the offender's skull is broken open to release the demons who are thought to be lodged there. Ultimately, of course, obviously, the offender dies. Criticism against pre-classical school are as follows. It is an unscientific approach, very arbitrary. There is no codification of criminal law, and there is an absence of proper and systematic criminal justice administration system. The guilt established is based on the religious stipulations and no proper material evidence. The monarch and priests were identified as power centers to determine punishment. There were no judicial authority to determine the guilt or to conduct the trial. Punishments were inhuman as per modern standards, and the act of offender was categorized as a moral issue rather than a legal issue. Now, from there, we move on to the Renaissance period, where classical school emerged, and the major propounded is Cesare Beccaria. He is the father of modern criminology, and he expounded his naturalistic theory of criminality by rejecting the omnipotence of evil spirit, and his seminal work is known as is titled Essays on Crime and Punishment. Next one is he laid greater emphasis on mental phenomenon of the individual and attributed crime to free will of the individual. This doctrine implied the notion of causation in terms of free choice to commit crime by rational men seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. Now, these are the 10 principles of Beccaria as to how to make the criminal justice system effective. First one is the role of legislatures should be both to define crimes and to specify the punishments for each specific crimes and not to lay down in very general terms. The role of judges should be solely to determine guilt. No discretionary or arbitrary powers are granted to the judges. The seriousness of a crime should be determined solely by the extent of the harm that it inflicts on the society. Next one is punishment should be proportionate to the seriousness of the crime and their purpose should be to deter the crime. Justification of punishment is rehabilitation, not revenge, and to protect individual rights. Punishments are unjust when their severity exceeds what is necessary to achieve deterrence. Excessive severity not only fails to deter crime but actually increases it. Punishments should be prompt. Punishment should also be certain. Finally, laws should be structured so as to prevent crime from happening in the first place. It's better to prevent crime than to punish them. Next one is Jeremy Bentham Classical School. He is not actually a criminologist but a jurist. So he's a propounder of utilitarianism, but his utilitarianism and hedonistic theories contains portions of criminological aspects as well. Utilitarianism says about the greatest happiness of the greatest number, and Bentham posited that man is a calculated animal, and he will weigh the potential gains against the pain likely to be imposed, and if the pain outweighs the gains, he'll be deterred, and this produces maximum social utility. So any sort of a criminal justice system should impose punishment which should closely match the crime. So he also proposed a design called panopticon. He expounded that criminal behavior included the idea that people are basically hedonistic, that is, they desire a higher degree of pleasure and tend to avoid pain, and people who choose to commit criminal acts think they stand to gain more than they risk losing by committing the crime. Bentham believed that criminal justice system should deter people from making this choice. Crime causation factors and other tenets of this school are as follows. It is the act of an individual and not his intention or intent which forms the basis for determining criminality. So, in criminal law principles, if we say that actus reus is more important, mens rea is totally disregarded under this school. Prevention of crime is more important than punishment for it. Classical school underlined the need for a well-defined criminal justice system. Equalization of justice, which meant equal punishment for the same offense. Criminal law should be humanized by recognizing natural human rights. They were against death penalties, severe torture, severe punishments, etc. Criminal law should primarily rest on positive sanctions, positive punishments, and no arbitrary powers were granted to judges. Now let's look at the criticism against classical school. State of mind of the offender was totally disregarded, and the concept was undermined. In most of the cases, it is the intention that really forms the basis for crime. Next one is no exception was carved out to differentiate between first time offenders, habitual offenders, hardcore offenders, or young offenders, etc. Because they have varying degrees of gravities of the offenses. The rule was that equal punishment for equal crimes. And there was overemphasis and weightage given to the free will and freedom of choice to commit a crime, because in certain situations the person might not be having the will to commit the crime. It is out of the situational circumstances that he might commit a crime. Such situations are totally ignored by the school. Next, we look on to a distinction between pre-classical school and classical school. Under pre-classical, the period is 17th to 18th century, where religions was in dominance, but classical school 18th century, where Renaissance started. The main proponent of this school is St. Thomas Aquinas, and here Cesare Beccaria and Jeremy Bentham. Here principles were based on demonology, witchcraft, and supernatural powers, where here it was a naturalistic theory of criminology. Now, man commits crime by the crime causation factor was some external force, spirit, demon, or devil. And naturalism and spiritualism form the backbone of crime causation, also known as a deterministic approach of crime causation, which excluded individual responsibility in the commission of crime. Here, crime is an attribute of the free will of an individual. It is based on the hedonistic psychology, which views that all human actions are ultimately motivated by desires for pleasure and avoidance of pain. Now, the punishment was the modes of punishment were doctrine of beating out of the evil, exorcism, ordeals, battles, worships, sacrifices, etc. Here, the punishment is supposed to be severe, certain, exact, and proportionate. Every offender is treated equally. That is, the objective approach was treated. Here, the intention to commit crime cannot be controlled. Here, crime can be controlled by deterrence. Here, punishment was given with a view to pacify the spirit that influenced the indulgence to commit crime. Here, punishment should fit the crime. That is, there should be proportionality between the punishment and the crime cost. And finally, these are the points of distinction between pre-classical school and classical school. Thank you.